Welcome back to Double Nickel. Today what I'd like to do is share with you about an opportunity my wife and I have to make a decision that's going to be harder than we thought it was as we first contemplated retirement. And at the end of this episode, or along the way if you would, I wish you would share with me in the comments the things that you took into account and how you went about making this decision. If you already have, if you're thinking about it, what are some of the things that you're considering as you walk this same road we're on right now? Well, what the issue is with work and with life, usually your career, or in a lot of cases your career, dictates where you're going to live. Not for everyone, but for us that's the way it happened. We moved to and lived where we worked, and that's where we spent our life, where we raised our son. And as you approach retirement like we are, my wife has retired and I'm not but a few months away, you begin to realize you can live anywhere. And at first that sounds cool, and it is, but then when you really start to consider what that means and what your options are, it's almost paralysis by analysis for me anyway. So that's why I would love your feedback. And I'll share with you first our situation, and then some basic overview of what I think everyone's options are. And then I'll close out with what I think, for now anyway, is the right path for us, and maybe that'll help you along the way. So for us, we moved here where we live about a decade or so ago, and that means we bought our house when the housing market was not at its bottom, but nothing like it is today. So on a per square foot basis, we moved into our house and purchased our house at a better price than you can buy one now. So we have that going for us. It was also post the housing crisis, or the big financial crisis that happened in 2008, and the Federal Reserve still had interest rates very low, and we have our house financed not at the lowest of all mortgage rates that anybody has, but at very, very low mortgage rate on our house, making it really kind of outrageous to contemplate even paying it off early. So probably not an option for us, but those are positives. It's where we raised our son, and therefore we're plugged into the community. We have lived here long enough that we have established doctors. Really just things you don't think about much. Still use an accountant. It may not continue to be necessary, but it is for now. Just everything in your life that you're used to doing, you have a rhythm and you have a routine, and you know where to go for if you have an issue with your water at your house. You know, the water department's easy to find. I mean, just every little challenge you run into or issue to deal with, when you've been somewhere a while, you've worked out all the kinks, so to speak, and you're familiar and you're comfortable. So that's where we sit. And so those are all positives about where we live now. There are some negatives. And if you've been watching these videos, you know that I love the mountains, and my wife does too. Hiking and being outdoors, national parks. My wife also loves the beach. She loves being on the water, but we don't live on a lake. We don't live on the beach. We don't live in the mountains. We live in some hills, but not the mountains. We don't live near a national park. All the things we enjoy, all the items of our activities, hobbies of leisure that we enjoy, they're a fair distance away. I'd say it's at least a couple of hours to what I would call good hiking. And then once you've driven that far to go on a hike, you kind of run those in the ground and you get familiar with them. There's not a lot of variety left, and it becomes repetitious, and then you drive even further, and pretty soon it turns into a trip. So anyway, we don't live where we recreate. We don't live where our hobbies are, and so that's kind of a negative. Also, my side of the family lives about an hour away from us. Her side of the family lives closer to 5, and our son, as you know from the last video, moved to Nashville. Happy for him, and that's great. I don't really think he's leaving there. He may, but no time soon. And so here we are in this place where we do have connections, but we don't have family, and work's not going to keep us here. There isn't a sports team here in town or within 10, 15, 20 miles or anything that we are followers of. So really nothing here other than financially it's advantageous, and this is where we've been, so we're familiar with it. So that's sort of our setup. And as we think about our options, we've got a few. Option one would be, all right, well, let's move closer to our son. You know, maybe we move closer to him. We're near the Smoky Mountains, which aren't my first choice. I'm not just dying to live there, but you know, there's a national park. There's quite a few trails, probably plenty of things that are discoverable that are a little bit kind of offbeat. Sure, that stuff exists there, and of course we could travel from there just like we can from here. So it gives us a little way to get our fix, or get, for me anyway, to get my fix, my hiking fix ever so often without having to go to so much trouble. We'd be near him, and I mean, if he gets married someday, has grandkids, we'd be near them. That'd be cool. And we like the Nashville area, so there's certainly some positives there with that option. There's a big negative. What if we do that and work or whatever, you know, causes him to have to move or need to move, and he does, and we've uprooted our life, moved to a less than ideal place for us, maybe a better setup than we have now, but not where we would just pick out of nowhere, I don't think. And then he leaves, and what do we do then? Do we move again? And so any of you that are watching this that have children like we do, you think the same thing probably. You know, they call it chasing your kids. I don't want to chase him. Really, I'm just looking for a good fit. And if that happens to be a good fit, us near him, well, that's great. So that's one of our options. We could move near my family. I don't think we'll move where her family lives. It's not an area we want to live. My family lives in a place much like where we are here. Might actually be slightly more advantageous to us financially to do that. We'd be near some family, some relatives, but still further, and in fact further away from our son then, a little further to get to him, more remote, further from an airport than we are now. None of the national parks or lakes or things that, certainly not on the ocean or the beach, none of those things. So while it would put us closer to some of our family, it would not solve most of the problems that we're trying to solve as we consider where we're going to live in retirement. So there's a couple options. Move near our son, move near our family, or we could move to where our interests are. And there's a couple of varieties of that. She loves the beach. I like the beach. It's fine. I don't mind it. Be great during the summer, I think. Just chill at the beach, enjoy the water, the breeze. I wouldn't want to be there all year, so I'd be traveling quite a bit. Probably gonna be traveling quite a bit anyway, though. And she would enjoy it a lot. She would love it. And then we could get away to the mountains for our hiking and stuff on our travels, which would be great. So we could do that. We both love sports. We're Arkansas Razorback fans, so you know, we could move to Northwest Arkansas to be near the baseball and the basketball midweek and suffer through some football weekends. Who knows, maybe someday they'll be better. There's an airport there that flies directly to a lot of places. Son went to school there, so he likes to go back and spend time in Northwest Arkansas. So that's an option. That's a way we could move near our interests. Or we could like move to the mountains out west. I think from a weather standpoint, that'd be great. Drier air, better for me. Gives my wife some problems. So you know, there's no perfect solution there either. Have us near mountains, maybe national parks that are more fun with things to do. She loves the snow, so mountains would be great on that, in that regard. But moving near any of those interests moves us further away from family and further away from our son as well. So, I mean, for us, all those choices have positives and negatives. But there's another option that you have, and it's the option we've selected. It's kind of the not yet, make no decision yet option. And so what we are going to do, as you know, I'm planning to retire soon. March of next year will be the end of my working time, and got those trips I keep referring to, multi-week trips that we're going to go on, and want to go on that first one that's going to be a spring, early summer trip. We'll come home for a few months, and then real late summer, early fall, into the fall, we'll take that second trip. So I give us, maybe 3 months or so at home, not doing travel or anything, just experiencing retired life, and then go on another trip, come back home. At least then we think we'll be in a better spot to take all these options we've discussed here on this episode today, maybe put them on paper. My dad gave us some good advice growing up. He said, look, when you're trying to solve something, you just put it on a piece of paper. On one side, put all the positives, all the benefits of your things you're thinking of, and on the other, put all the negatives and try to weigh them out. So we'll probably have to do that with each of these options, try to weigh the pros and the cons, the puts and the takes, and decide whether, for us, it means we stay right where we are and we virtually traveled everything, or we get close to our son so that we're traveling, at least that's one set of travel we eliminate, or we move near our interests, or move near our family. Those are kind of the things we have to think about. I'd just love to hear from you if you've already went through this, if you've already retired and experienced this freedom of choice to decide where we're going to live. What did you go through? How did you walk through that decision-making process? What were the outcomes? What did you weigh heavier than other things? And ultimately, what choice did you make? I'd love to know how others have managed this. And maybe you're like me and you're looking at it. The decision's in front of you, not immediately in front of you, but it's on the horizon. And you're like us, you're trying to think it through. Share that as well, and let me know if there are other pros and cons and puts and takes that I haven't mentioned today that we ought to consider as we think over the next months and year or so about what it is we need to do next. It's an interesting journey I'm on, this double nickel journey of a life in transition, moving from professional life to retirement. The last episode was about the last big meeting that I went to with the company. Today I turned in the last version of a big annual project, kind of starting to cross over those last thresholds. And as we do, we start to think about the future. It makes us think about housing. So I'm coming to you with where we're at, sharing that with you, asking you for some feedback. Well, hey, until next time, let's see, we're double nickel.